Good morning, True Crime BFFs. Look, I'm a little bit froggy this morning. I have some congestion. I have a whole situation happening in my head. But I'm about to power through this whole thing. Look, today we're talking about the boy in the box trial. That is the state of Florida versus Tim Ferriter. And this trial is a mess. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and now we're about to get into it. So look, this is what happened. The Ferriter family was living in Florida. They moved to Arizona for a couple of years, then they moved back to Florida. When they moved back, by the time they moved back to Florida, they had 4 children, 3 older children, and then an oopsie baby who was like only a toddler, something like that. Of their children, some adopted, some biological, their son, they had these 2 daughters who seemed to be doing okay in school and good socially and whatever. They had this son, RF. RF was out here doing the most. You have one of them kids? Listen, I have one of these kids. I talked about him yesterday. He, ADHD, dyslexia, and the assholery in that one was strong. He was always doing something. And when they talked about the things that this child did, RF, I was like, child been there. My child did that. My child did that. My child did that. And then they talked about him bringing a knife to school. And I was like, oh yeah, my kid did that too. But then when RF was on the stand describing the situation, he was like, I would not call, I think they call it a box cutter. He was like, that's not how I would describe what happened. And I was like, okay, I'm leaning in. RF, tell us what happened. He said he was messing around in a junk drawer or whatever and found a little scalpel and he thought it was cool. And so he took it to school. Okay, that could be interpreted as he brought a knife to school or a curious child brought an inappropriate object to school. Okay, great. That puts it in a totally different light. My child also brought a knife to school and I was like, okay, young black child brings knife to school. This is all I need. When I got that call from the principal, I was just like this close to melting down. And then when I spoke to my child about it, I was like, please tell me what happened today. And he was like, I found a Swiss Army knife. It had a spoon on it. And I was like, okay. But also a knife. He was like, and scissors and a cork. He didn't know the word for corkscrew. He was like a twisty thing. He was so excited, but he decided to keep it in his pocket. And then in whatever class, it fell out because his pockets were shallow. And so then I get the call that the child has brought a knife to school. Okay, context is everything. When this child got up to testify, RF, it was enlightening to say the least. I am not sure what I expected. The court had said to him, we have this satellite courtroom set up so you can have privacy and not have to face anybody, not your parents, not the jury, not anybody. This kid was straight gangster. He was like, nah, I want to sit there in the courtroom and I want to be there with the people. I want my voice to be heard. He's 16 years old, very mature for his age, smart, articulate in AP classes and all of this stuff, and also wildly compassionate. I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. He had a really interesting view on his parents. He was like, yeah, I did a lot of stuff. I got into a lot of trouble. And I don't dislike them. I think they were doing their best under very difficult circumstances. And I was like, oh, wow, that is really wonderful. Also, the way they coped under difficult circumstances happened to be illegal. Now, might some people look at this situation and be like, those parents were just doing their best? Yes, that's not where it goes in my head. I was just like, listen, I heard this little sister, the sister talk about how the dad snatched up the boy and threw him up against the wall and that she was afraid that her father might unalive her brother. Honey, it was a hush over Jerusalem. The whole courtroom was like, because that's what I was doing. I was sitting in the doctor's office and I was like, what? Okay. The sister, who was not a part of this situation, but bore witness to it, has another view and is able to see it from a different perspective than the committer of the act and the person who the act was committed upon. And she was like, yeah, it was scary. They didn't give him food. He didn't have the same privileges. He didn't have the same whatevers. And I was like, wow. I wonder if these parents, I suspect these parents could be convicted, but I could also see where this jury might hang. I think it's uncommon for juries to hang, but I could see where these parents were trying their best, but they went too far. In watching court TV, here's the thing that I had not expected. I don't know what I thought these people did for a living or where they lived or how they lived or whatever. They bought like a 3 or 4 bedroom house and they had 4 kids. And so they built this room in the garage. This was $1 million house with a pool. Excuse me. You can afford $1 million house with a pool, but you can't afford a house with enough bedrooms? I'm sorry, what now? A pool house? Something? To me, once I understood that, I felt like, oh, this room was not built because they were frustrated. I mean, I'm sure they were frustrated and at the end of their rope, but I also suspect that they were worried about, what are the neighbors going to say? What are people going to think? How does this look? It's making me look bad that you out here in these streets just doing every single thing. They sent him to all these different schools or whatever. Did y'all consider sending him to a therapy program, like a residential therapy program? I'm sure your very good insurance coverage could have covered that. Mine sure does. Yours probably does too. Mr. I can afford $1 million house. Okay, sir. I'm looking at you in a whole other light. But this dude on Court TV was like, these are parents just doing their best. Their best stunk, in my opinion. Not that anybody asked me. The son, the 16-year-old son, RF, got up in court, spoke beautifully, talked about his experience, and I was like, okay. His older sister got up. She sort of spoke in a whisper. She was in a satellite courtroom. No shade to her because this is definitely a difficult situation. And I was like, where do these kids live today? Where are they now? It's my understanding that the parents lost custody of these children. All the kids from ages like 17 down to age 4. So I'm sure that they're like, we would just like to get our kids back and not go to jail, please. And thank you, honey. Their son got up there and read them for filth with compassion, with caring, with love, but read them for filth. The prosecutor was like, how did you feel being in that room? He was like, dehumanized. Oh, mom and dad. Okay. He said, it was similar to genocide. Yes, I did some things that were wrong. And I was like, man, I think young RF, he alone could have convicted his parent, or his father is the only one on trial in this case. I was like, y'all going down. Do y'all know? Do they know? Has their lawyer put them up on game? Like, y'all, this is not going to be seen in the favorable light that you think it is. I suspect that these people are like, if I just get up there and explain what happened, yes, I choked him out, but let me explain to you why I choked him out. That's not a thing. Sir, ma'am, that's not a thing. And a lot of us have had highly troubled children. Listen, I have my one son. We have 4 sons, right? 1 is my stepson, 3 are my biological sons. But we don't talk about steps and biologicals because those are all my babies, every single one of them. That oldest one, he's now married with his own children or whatever. He was a pain in the neck in that him and taking a bath on a regular basis, they was not good friends when he was young. He was like, well, I need a shower. I just had a shower last week. Boy, you stink. You smell like wide open behind hole. So I'm going to need you to, And when you go in there, please use soap and water and shampoo. The next child that came along, also not on first name basis with a regular bath or a haircut or shaving. Also got in trouble all the time at school, got sent to the principal's office on a regular basis. I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this child? The assholery in that one was strong. And this child, RF, talked about he got like a technology something or other. He got like basically technology timeout at school, because a technology breach, I think is what they called it. I was like, oh, that reminds me of the time that my 2nd grader took his Nook. You remember a Nook? That was the precursor to the Kindle e-reader or whatever. Barnes & Noble had a little Nook. And I was like, we're going to get him that. We're going to get him right when it came out. The first edition of it. We're going to get him a Nook and he's going to read some books. He knows how to read. When he's grounded, he can sit there in his room and read. He was like, can I close my door and read? I need the peace and quiet. Sure, close your door and read. You know what he was in there doing? Hacking the Nook so he could look at ladies with no clothes on and communicate with his friends over their Nooks. What? Why was he was doing like instant messaging before instant messaging was a thing. I was like, this child is going to drive me out of my mind. Why are there ladies with no clothes on the Nook? What are we doing right now? I thought you was in here reading Amelia Bedelia or something. And he was like, is she dressed? I could not with that child. Literally from kindergarten all the way up to about 8th, 9th grade, it was always something. You know how long that is? That's a lot of years to have principals, deans, and crying teachers calling you. We did not build a room in the backyard. We did not. We did not beat him. He was grounded all the time, to the point that he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to take this ground and okay. He slammed his door one time and broke it. I was like, you're not slamming doors in my house. Took that door right off the hinges. He got a curtain instead. See if you can slam that damn curtain. Turns out you cannot slam a curtain. So he had a curtain for quite a while, like, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, something like that. And I remember for his birthday one year, he got a door. Oh, he was happy. And the whole thing was, I couldn't even put the old door back on. He had broken the door, slamming the door in my house. Do you know who your mother is? You don't slam doors around here. You better write an angry letter, and the grammar better be right, because I'm going to check it. You're not slamming the door in my house. So nah. So when I bought him the new door, I had to learn how to hang a door, which of course I learned how to do because I am crafty like that. Look, that whole story, this whole entire situation about the boy in the box, I was not sure I would cover. This story has made me mad. It has got me in my feelings. I'm just like, I cannot with these people. So that trial continues today. We're going to see what happens. You know what else is going on in Melly news. I told you the other day that Bortland was arrested for witness tampering, right? I was like, who was he tampering? And then in jail, Melly was also arrested. How you get arrested when you are in jail? Okay, I'm already locked up. You're going to come in and put me in handcuffs? You're going to read me my rights? What is happening? So Melly was arrested and arraigned for witness tampering. Everybody is suspecting that it was Maya Hamilton. I think that's probably right. We already know that Maya Hamilton, what's her name? Mariah Hamilton. Mariah Hamilton's mom was tampered with because we saw them text messages. Mrs. Felicia Holmes was her name. That's Melly's girlfriend's mom. I think it's the ex-girlfriend now, but the ex-girlfriend's mom got up there and she's like, I don't remember. I was having a tough time. My mind is not clear and nothing will refresh my memory. Cut to the text messages that she sent over WhatsApp or whatever she sent. Oh, she sent it on Instagram. She was like, B better run me my money. You don't have my money? I'm going to be a snitch, biatch. You better have my money. Don't have my money? Oh, I'm going to talk to the police and I'm going to tell the police every single thing. Then she got up there and I was like, oh, so wait. Suddenly she's having all this deep amnesia. Okay. We saw your messages, lady. We strongly believe that your amnesia is directly related to the money that somebody probably ran for you. But then Miss Mariah was up here on the YouTubes talking about, I'm here in my lawyer's office and I'm willing to talk to the police, but y'all have to take off this warrant for my arrest. If there was no warrant for my arrest, I would come in and have a conversation about what you want me to do. I don't want you to arrest me. Next thing you know, the warrant has disappeared and Melly and Bortland are charged with tampering charges. Okay, I want to know what Miss Mariah has to say, because at this point, she broke up with this dude. Her mama has been arrested. The whole situation is a mess. What possible motivation could she have to protect Melly? Melly? There's so much going on back and forth in that case. And I'm like, hey, Melly fans, we see y'all. And how y'all riding hard for your boy. Ooh, it is exhausting. Dealing with the Melly fans. But I'm like, okay, I'm just going to say my little piece and I'm going to let it go. We will see what happens with that case. It was pushed back to the first of the year. And so come the first of the year, we're going to see the YNW Melly trial. I don't know how or if I will cover it. Maybe in a little snippet here or there if something exciting happens. But day-by-day coverage, no. It was exhausting. It was basically a whole bunch of sidebars and a little bit of trial. I don't have no free time like that. Like, I got better things to do. And by then, maybe Suitcase Sarah will be on trial. Ooh, I have to sneeze. Okay. I need to run. I need to go get some coffee to top off my water because this is just water this morning. I'm so congested. Ooh, Natty Pot. I think I'm going to go Natty. Let me go Natty, and then I'm going to be back because we have Deadly Dentist today. And today's Deadly Dentist over there at the Lunchtime True Crime. Oh, it's coming with a twist. It has a surprise for you. I think you're going to like it. So listen, I will see you later at lunchtime. And if you remember, of our member circle, then I will see you tonight at bedtime, where we will continue our discussion that we've had over the last 2 nights. We wasn't talking about y'all, non-members. We wasn't talking about y'all, not hardly at all. But we have, some personal, in-depth, private conversations that are not shared on the main feed. So if you want to know about that, then please feel free to click the join button. The link is right here in the description of this video. Otherwise, we'll see you later. You make it a good day. Bye-bye.